Good afternoon. Good morning, Keisha. Happy Sunday. Hello, Anne. Welcome. I am going to give it a few minutes. Good morning. Thank you. Hi, Michelle. Good morning, afternoon. Happy October. Absolutely. October the 1st. Unbelievable. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Judith. Good morning, Linda. All right. The sun came out. Yes, the sun came out here too. I got on my happy face because the sun is out. It's been a sunny, nice weekend. Definitely have the happy face. All right, I'm going to kick it off. We can get started. Thank you all so much for being here. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are located. My name is Jewel Pearson, and this is Miss Bohemian Soul TV. This is Creating Home, a tiny house series. The segment we are going to kick off today is the What's Your Question segment, where I am answering frequently asked tiny house questions. We are having community conversations and just chatting about all of the things. This is one of two segments in this series. The other segment is the conversation on the conversations on intimate spaces, where I am interviewing people in and around the tiny house movement. And as I introduce myself, I say that I built a kind of fancy tiny house in 2015. And since that time, I've shared my journey to hopefully inspire others who are interested in the movement. I do offer coaching and consultations to help others in their tiny house journey. And once this video is live and updated, you'll be able to find links to schedule with me in the video description that will be below the video. And as I'm doing all of that, I serve up a lot of representation in the movement along the way. I want us to be able to see ourselves and participate in this movement and do so safely. And it is my intent to build figurative and literal community that is inclusive and accessible. And if you find this information in the video helpful, I ask that you like it, you share it, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on the notification so that you'll know when content is available. All right. Good morning. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon. Hi, C. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here this Sunday. It is October the 1st. It is the last quarter of 2023. Um, and so we have 3 more months in this year to figure out all the things, do all the things that we had planned for 2023. Get ready for 2024. And time is just moving so quickly. I was listening to a podcast yesterday that was just talking about life and putting things in perspective. And it was the first time I'd heard someone describe life as a melting ice cube. And that was just not eye-opening, just that perspective was like, wow. Because everybody knows, the melting ice cube at some point just no longer exist, and to put that in the perspective of life and the way we need to think about things and help us put things in perspective. I thought that was um, just something that has stuck with me, obviously, since I listened. Hi, Crystal. Welcome. I appreciate you. I hope you had a great time camping. You all have safe travels. Good afternoon, April. Thank you for being here. So I really don't have anything planned today. I did have a guest play, the same guest that I've been trying to line up. She rescheduled for Sunday, and then earlier this week she needed to cancel. So it was Dr. Joanne, the woman who has is using a tiny house as a mobile psychiatry office, and I'm hoping that she'll reschedule. I'm gonna wait and see if her if she reaches out. I don't want to be a pest, so I'll see if she reaches out and if we can get her rescheduled. I would really like to have an opportunity to listen to her story and how she got to those decisions to help you all as you're thinking through things to do and dreams to follow and opportunities for tiny houses as movable homes and businesses. So and I've got some other people that I'm reaching out to. So hopefully we'll have some conversations and with some others in the movement to inspire as well. So um, I'll keep you posted. I do have somebody lined up for the 22nd, but there are a lot of Sundays in between now and the 22nd. So hopefully we'll get somebody lined up. Yes, Michelle, that a melting ice cube was just really something that has stuck with me in perspective of doing the things that you dream about, doing the things that you want to do, doing the things that you need to do, and doing them before that ice cube completely melts, and thinking about that in the perspective of life. And so I that reinvigorated me for sure, with the list of things that um, I'll drop a link to the podcast that I listened to. It was talking about a lot of things that really hit home for me. It was talking about imposter syndrome and how people get stuck in their own way of doing things, and uh, attributing it to imposter syndrome, and I could relate to that. And she was saying that really imposter syndrome is nothing but you're a beginner in whatever it is that you're trying to do, that you feel like you have imposter syndrome around. You've never done it before, so really your imposter syndrome is just basically you're a beginner and you've not experienced that or don't have the expertise. But as soon as you get going with it, then the fear starts to move away because you're learning something and you're not expected to know everything in the beginning. So I'll drop a link, make a note. You all know I got to make my notes um to the podcast that I listened to, because it was a really good one. Hi, Teresa. Good morning. Welcome. Hi, Rosalind. Happy Sunday. um Oh, I made a note of something to talk about, and then I could I couldn't read my own writing, and that's a whole shame. But I realized I didn't finish writing out my note. Um, so the things I just wanted to chat about was the reminder to you all and to myself that it is October 1, the last quarter of 2023, and all of the things that we are needing to do. We need to figure out how to do them, and get moving on, especially the goals that we outline for ourselves for 2023. And again, as I'm speaking to you all, I'm speaking to myself, to get to moving. Like this person was speaking to the fact that how we often will say we don't have time. But we have to make time to do the things that we want to do. And she was like, well, you have 10 minutes. You have 15 minutes to invest in this thing that you want to do. And that's right. And I know I waste so much time at social media. I waste time going down in rabbit holes. I can tell you about um, dogs being rescued. I can tell you about people finding animals. I could tell you about all kinds of stuff while you end up watching one thing and go down the rabbit hole and then you realize it's been an hour or 2 hours, or you could have been doing something valuable, something um, for yourself. So um, those are the things that I personally am refocusing on. I spent the weekend in Charlotte. I went to an event last night, and so I was back and forth to Charlotte. I think I've shared I live about 45 minutes outside of Charlotte, so the back and forth is a lot sometimes. And so I just decided I was going to stay in Charlotte this weekend. So I stayed at a very cute, um, tiny house. It was a small house, a house on foundation, very cute. And it was in the city, so I got a little re-energized because I think I told you all I am kind of in the struggle right now, being in a rural space with feeling disconnected. So I got some energy back and am trying to reset myself to figure out what that looks like for going forward. Um, Teresa is asking, so do you do winter or fall cleaning or organizing? I do, and it's interesting that it just kind of becomes part of like the season. It's just natural. It's just something that seems to present itself as like it's time to be done. And I always think about it as like nesting, like what um the word that people use when they talk about women who are pregnant, and it just kind of kicks in as you're getting closer to delivery, the things that you need to do to prepare for the child coming in. I always kind of think about the feeling of things that need to be done as the season change, and it's just an energy shift, a natural energy shift for me. So um, I do seasonal cleaning, and I do a lot of. I also switch my closet out. So um, I have, I think I've shared with you all the little storage unit I have in the back. I know I've shared that before. A little storage unit I bought in the back. I think last May I bought it, and it was when I had the combo washer dryer unit in my bathroom for 7 or so years. And since I'm on this property and decided I wasn't moving anymore, I bought a little storage shed and have it in the back. And I decided with that I was going to buy a stackable washer and dryer unit. And so the combo washer dryer unit works just fine. I had one that actually heated. Some of them I understand, and since they are in more use now, maybe they are better. But when I was buying mine, when I was building in 2015, um, the options were limited and the reviews were really bad. So the combo units are something that are used mostly in other countries. Like if you're traveling in Europe, you'll see them a lot because the spaces, like the US is one of the places with the massive homes. But as you're traveling and you experience that, most people live in smaller spaces. And so in Europe, as I've traveled, most of the homes have the combo washer dryer unit. But one of the things that some of the complaints about those units are that the cycle is so long. It takes a long time, which to me makes sense. Like it's washing and dryer, so the cycle is going to be longer than what you're used to. Um, Not all of them had, like when I was building in 2015, let me preface it with I've not done any research on them since then. But not all of them had like heating elements. Some of them just really were spinning to kind of almost like beat the water out of it was the way I've described it. And so, that's not really going to dry anything. The one I bought, Splendid, was the manufacturer. So it actually had heating elements. So it worked fine for 7 years. Like your clothes would be, if you went through the entire cycle, they might be more wrinkled than you were used to. But I'm usually the person that washes clothes and then I hang a lot of stuff to dry. So it was fine for me. But anyway, I decided, but also it requires smaller loads. So I decided when I built that little storage unit that I would buy a stackable washer dryer. So it's an apartment size, bigger than what the combo unit um, allowed, but not still not a massive washer dryer unit. I don't need that size. So I have that in there. And then I also, the final things that I had in a storage unit, I got rid of like storage unit on somebody else, that I was paying for. And everything I had left, I have now in that storage unit. So I swap out my clothes seasonally. And, but as I do that, as I'm like cleaning my um, closet out, I'm going through, and every time I'm swapping it out, I'm going through and analyzing what I did and didn't wear. And I make it a point to get rid of things. I don't do, like, I used to be not a shopper, but I did shop way more than I shop now. But my thing is, I'm shopping now and buying things. Like, I'll pay more for quality things so that I can have them last a long time. Or like, I've realized some of my shoes I've had at least 10 years. So I'm not buying faddish things, I guess is the way to explain it. I'm buying quality things that are going to last. And then when I find a pair of shoes, like I have some heels, I almost think they're Jessica Simpson. I might be telling a lie. But I have three pairs of them because they were, when I bought the first pair, they were so comfortable. So I think I bought the first pair in black. And then as I realized how comfortable they were, I went back and bought two other pair. So my closet is kind of built like that. When I find something that I like, and it's, I guess maybe what you would consider a staple. But I'm reanalyzing, as I'm swapping out the closet of things that I know I don't intend to wear anymore or didn't wear. And I've actually was reading something the other day as I was considering, like, do I want to do a capsule wardrobe and just stick to like maybe blacks, or as I was thinking about, I like denim a lot. I don't know, but um that is, as I'm getting ready to go into a new season, that is the things that I think about and the things that I do, like do major cleaning, like major dusting and all of the things to get ready for a new season. Um, so yes, that's the long answer to your question, Teresa. I do all of those things. And then as I've been traveling so much this summer, I recognize that the little cobwebs, the like, you can be gone for a week and it's just like, you all are so disrespectful. These cobwebs, I'm walking through stuff and it's like, where are you all that I don't see you? But I've only been gone for a few days, and then you've taken over. So major dusting and vacuuming and doing all of the things happens on a regular, and as seasons are changing. So yeah, that was a long answer. Hi, Day. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Good day to you. Um, Good afternoon. So Teresa is asking, am I able to share any updates about having an event in the Charlotte area in the future? So yes, so the date of the event is the 12th. I am still working out the times and things for the actual facility. So my expectation, and I did have that on my list, is to share out an event link. And I guess I'll share it in on YouTube first, since you guys are here. You're obviously paying attention. So I'll make a post on YouTube and provide the link to the event. And I am coordinating it with the second event that I mentioned that's going to be happening on that Saturday. There's an event that I'm participating in that I mentioned last week. So I'll share the details for both events. And our event will be on that Sunday. And if you have suggestions or some specific things that you'd like to have occur on that day, I'm open to suggestions. I'm actually setting this up for you all, so I would want it to be something that you're interested in participating in, something that meets the community needs. So I'm open to suggestions. But November the 12th is the date for our event, and I'll wrap that up and send out information here first, and then I'll be sharing it on Instagram. My Facebook, my Miss Bohemian Soul Facebook page, I had some hackers get a hold to it. It's now been, I'm gonna say, 6 to 9 months. They're not doing anything. They just, I don't know, just have the page, and I guess are holding it hostage. Um, and the 12th, I'm sorry, the 12th of November, November the 12th. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for asking that question. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, November the 12th. It's a Sunday. So I haven't been sharing information on my YouTube page. I don't know what they're doing, but anyway, I think at some point I may even just close that page. But I said all that to say I will share the information on YouTube first with the links for you all to register, and then I'll share it on Instagram. And I also shared um, in Charlotte. It will be in Charlotte, November the 12th in Charlotte. And it'll be there's a Saturday event in Charlotte, and that is, I'll be speaking at this Saturday event. It is not my event. I'll share that event. The name of that event uh, is the Afro Futurism. It's a film festival, and they're having a speaking event. So I'll share all the information. So that event, I'm speaking there, or I'm part of a panel, and then Sunday we will have our event. Um, but I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, I'm gonna share. Oh, I was getting ready to say there will be a small cost for it, because obviously I have to um, get the space and do all of the things. So just be aware of that. Um, but yes, November the 12th, Sunday, November the 12th is the event that we'll have. And then I'll set up some dates and times in some other areas going forward, since that was the ask. And I'm trying to do what you all want and need to be done. Um, let's see, what else do I have? I don't really have anything else. Just reminding myself and you all that life is a melting ice cube, and not really, that we're wrapping up 2023. And so what are the things that what are the dreams that you've been moving from the to-do list, or moving year to year? I'm going to do this, and then it ends up being the next year. What are those things? And to start thinking about those things, and take the steps to move toward accomplishing them. And as I say this, I keep saying I am talking to myself as well. This is um, one of the things that I always say about myself is I can be everybody else's cheerleader. Like, my skill set is project management, and I can get stuff done, but I can get stuff done easier for other people. I am the person that, if somebody wants to plan an event, somebody is trying to figure out how to accomplish something, I'm the person they come to, and I'm figuring out all the things for them. And for whatever reason, I don't do that as well for myself personally. So these are the same conversations I have to have with myself, like pushing my stuff along versus being everybody else's cheerleader. The other thing I've shared that with you all, is I can be kinder to other people. The As people are sharing their dreams and their fears or whatever, I'm that person that's encouraging them. But to my own self, I'm not as kind to myself as I can, or as I am to other people, or as I should be to myself. And so that's one of the things that I'm also working on. Um, Almost getting out of my own way to to move myself forward and to think of it the same way I would do for somebody else. So somebody else, a friend of somebody I cared about, or some, a business, somebody hired me to do something, I'm doing it, but I don't do the same for myself. And so that's one of the things that I also have on my list to work at and do better. Teresa is asking, do you have a vision board that you use or update each year? So last year, going into the new year, was the first year in many, many years that I actually created a vision board. I have goals that I want to achieve, but normally usually it's just me journaling and keeping a list of the things that I want to do. But last year was the very first year that I put together a vision board. And I'm not home now, else I would show you, because the vision board, I think I've shown, I'll share it again. The vision board kind of sits behind my desk, and on the vision board, I had Essence magazine was a feature in Essence was on the vision board, and it was interesting. So like my magazines, I cut out things from magazines, and it was easy because I was cutting from Essence magazine and trying to be really careful not to mess up my Essence magazines. But um, my one of my goals was a feature in Essence, and that was a prominent thing on the vision board. And so I did accomplish that one, and that was major for me. So on that vision board, I have things around community work, building a community that is a physical community. And then, physical and literal community. So I feel like this is the literal community. You folks show up on Sundays and you're here, and I appreciate that. And this is building that figurative community, social media community, but also really I want to do a physical community. And so that is on that board. And some other things. I can't think of what else is on the board right now, but there were a couple of things that I did accomplish from that board. And I think the physical this year, when I decided that I was actually building that board, is as I talk about manifesting dreams. Like, it's important to write stuff down. It's important to envision stuff, to see the stuff, and having a physical board to, just a quick look as you're moving around, a quick look to center you, to remind you of the things that you said you're going to do, or want to do. Those dreams is important. The last time I actually had built a physical board was when I was going into building my tiny house. I had a physical, it wasn't a board, I had a binder, and I built a lot of visual things for building a tiny house, and quotes and things. And that was the last major project that I took on, and so that was 20, I think I started that binder 2013 or so. So I feel like I have a friend my part of my background, like I said, is project management. I've also done event management, corporate event management. And I have a friend for every event that I was working on, I would, and this was, um, when I would do event management was like the late 90s, early 2000s. So I say all of this to say, um, computers weren't what they are today. Like, we were just getting to having laptops. But so for each event that I would plan, I had a binder that I would put together, and it was like, I would call it my Bible, of all of the things that I was working on. That was just like this point of reference to all of my information. And I have a friend, Melanie, who would always say, um, if Jewel, I know, and I worked with her, and she was like, if Jewel is planning something, she has a binder. If it's getting ready to be major, she has a binder. And so, and that is absolutely right. So when I went into building my tiny house, I had a binder, and I still have my binder, of all of the things, like the dreams and the notes, as I was researching and learning things, so that I could keep up with everything. Because sometimes for me, it's like the physical. manifestation of something that I need to see. So I still have that binder. Um, and so I've got two major, oh, how did I forget that? My other major thing on my board is a book. And I keep talking about this book, and I have been talking about this book, and I bought some software to start working on the book, and I've got the book in my head, but I don't have it on actual paper to get to moving it along. So that is the conversation I was having with myself. I've got a quarter to move it forward, and I cannot leave 2023. I cannot move out of October even without putting this in place. And it was that conversation, the podcast I was listening to, um, that was saying, it's the imposter syndrome, and recognizing it's a beginner, stuff that you don't know, you haven't done it before. And that's when I'm in my own head. So it's just moving that forward and being accountable to myself and finding the 10 and 15 minutes instead of finding something goofy to do when I could be working on this thing. So that is what I'm going to be working on in this quarter. And I have to be accountable to myself on this. So yes. Um, what do you all have that you're working on? I know you got something on your list that um, maybe you're avoiding that you've not been doing. So we can all be accountable here. Anybody sharing anything they have working on or what they're thinking about this for this last quarter of 2023? Let me see if I see any questions. Do you all create vision boards? Let's see. All right, I don't see anybody. Maybe you're typing. I don't. It's one of the delays with this tool. And Teresa is saying maybe we could work together on writing a book. I would love that. I need some accountability in my life. Would love that. Teresa, what are you writing about? Um, oh, Rosalind is saying, I love my wash and dry combo. It's an amazing space saver. It just takes time, long time to complete the cycle. Absolutely. I had mine for 7 years and it was fabulous. So I agree with that. Um, okay, Michelle is emptying out her paid storage unit. Michelle, there's a freedom in that. So if your timeline is through the end of the year. I'm in some groups in Stephanie Perry's group where Black women are leaving the United States, and it's and as I've done consultations and I talk to people about stuff that they hang on to and our attachments to stuff. And then my friend Christine Platt, who wrote the Afrominimalist, who wrote a book about like letting go of stuff and it kind of explaining why it is that we hold on to stuff. It's heavy. It's work. It's almost a mindset. It's to me sometimes it's less the physical work of it, and it's more the mental work of it because as you get into it, sometimes you can get bogged down in what the stuff is and emotional and um, attachment to it, and so it's hard. So in addition to just the physical work, so I hope you're able to move through that. I know. Um, Going into my tiny house, like when I ended up with the storage initially, I things were moving so fast when I was moving out of my one bedroom. I had a one bedroom, one bath when I was first moving into my tiny house. And so my lease was ending, moving into the house. We were filming for HGTV. I was looking for a location. My build was stressing me out financially, the just and the way the build was happening, like the energy. between me and my builder. It was a lot. It was very stressful. And so in my going into the build, like my plan of like I had downsized to like my last few favorite things, but I had planned to better organize leaving that apartment and moving into my tiny house, and it just didn't happen. So there was a lot of stuff that went into storage that I just because I didn't have the energy and bandwidth to deal with it. And so I had the storage up until a year and a half ago. I think some of the stuff in the storage. So I had a bedroom suit that I adored. Um, and going into moving into my tiny house, my thing was, and it's still my thing, like you get to dream a new dream. So I was like, if I for my bedroom suit, I was like, if I at some point decide I don't want to live in a tiny house, I'm gonna want this bedroom suit because it was fabulous, and I had put a lot of energy and effort into sourcing it. So I didn't want to get rid of that. And there were some things that just needed to be gotten rid of that I hadn't had time to go through, but it was some major things that I wasn't ready to let go of. But over the course, and for me, it was okay. So I'm not once I was in my house, I'm not paying major rent prices, and so I was okay with the storage price I was paying because it was still not that storage plus my um parking for my tiny house still didn't equate to anything close to a rent. So I wasn't stressing myself out about it. I knew once I was ready to deal with it, I would. Um, and then when right before the pandemic hit, um, when I had to move my house from that area where I wasn't safe, where I was having problems with racism, and my house sat there for a while. I physically left because I wasn't safe, and I got an apartment, and I used my bedroom suit again while I was in that apartment, and for me it was like, okay, so I didn't realize at this point that, and it was temporary, like I wasn't planning to not be in my house, but to have to move into an apartment. I still had home because I had my stuff that I adored, that I'd had for many many years. And then coming back into my house, I then knew, okay, so it's time. I have been here 8, 9 years, and I don't anticipate having not living in my tiny house. Even though at some point I recognize that I won't want to, as I get older, I may not want to navigate the stairs and the loft. But I see that as like making my sunroom space my bedroom. But the bedroom suite I had would be too big for that space. So I knew it was time, and I could let stuff go. But it is a lot. It is emotional. It is, and then there's some things that you'll want to hang on to. Sometimes pictures, like people say, you can um, make digital copies of them, and absolutely, because then that's going to preserve them. But they're just some things that you do want to hang on to, and for me that's the small storage unit that I have, but still getting to paring down so that you're not just paying and carrying things unnecessarily. So Michelle, let us know how we can support you in making that happen. Teresa is saying, yes, I have a vision board. Michelle says, I do binders and lists also. Yeah, I'm a paper person. Like I've got a whole little, I use my calendar on my phone. I use it on my computer, but I'm also still into some physical stuff. Um, Golda is saying, I have tried to, but it never holds my attention and I get frustrated and stop. I think you're talking about vision boarding. Maybe it's not, yeah, maybe it's not your thing. But it has some benefits to it, but it might not be the benefit for everybody. So Rosin is saying her LG unit has a heating element. I don't think LG had made a combo unit when I was looking for a combo washer dryer. Like Splendid was the only company out, and they were building their units mostly for RV. So I think the market, as tiny houses have become more of a thing, the market has definitely increased. Okay, so Teresa's book is about self-motivation and maybe something about diabetes. Okay. Yeah, let's talk. Okay, so Michelle is saying my training manuals and photos are the hardest to get rid of. Yeah, photos, the digital thing. My brother is doing where he's going through my mom, all of my mom's photos, and he's digitizing them. Um, which obviously, like I have a picture. My dad is deceased. He's been deceased since I was 2. So I have a like a favorite picture of when I was little, me, him, my grandfather, and my brother, and it's an actual physical picture, but it's fading now because I've had it. Fortunately, there is a digital copy of it, so that's the draw for old photos. But I understand it. It that is hard. And training manuals. Maybe at some point there's also a way to digitize that. But I feel you. Let us know how we can help you. And so Michelle is saying she read Christine's book and loved it. It's a great book. She also has an audio version of the book. I'll share the link to her book again. She has an audio book and she's actually doing the reading of it. And I was listening to her book. Was I building my house? I mean, not building my house. I think, building the addition when I was listening to her book because I remember being back and forth on that highway. And it was so cute to hear my friend reading a book because it's her reading, it's her voice. So it was really cute and weird all at the same time to have her reading as I was driving. Judith is saying, I need to downsize and let go. All of my kids are out of the home and I need to get all of their junk from my house. Sounds like your kids need to come help do that too, Judith. So don't do the work and don't involve them. Make them come help you do that. But I understand. Day Rawls is saying, I'm looking for 5 to 10 acres of land in Carolina or Georgia to lease out to those looking to park a tiny home on wheels. That's fabulous. And the work I've spoken about the cooperative communities effort, and I am working on an app now to advertise for people who are landowners and property owners as well as tiny house owners, and it's got some other features to it. So that is going well. And I actually have a meeting tomorrow with the person that I'm working with. So Dave, when you're ready, you'll be able to use that app to share your information. Um, okay, so Teresa is sharing some knowledge. She said there was a book she read about holding the item, whatever it is that you're trying to get rid of, or deciding to get rid of, holding the item to your heart and to see if you get good energy. And if you don't, then you eliminate the item. I like that. Interesting. Michelle is saying, I have several boxes of my journals. I don't know what to do with them. So old journals, for me, old journals, because I do have some versions of old journals. Sometimes I go through and read them to because it's always enlightening to see where I was in those places and times and also see growth. Sometimes there are things that I'll take out of them and like keep and kind of incorporate in a new journal. But I have been able to let go of some of them when I recognize, that like I'm so far gone from that. Um, and almost to what Teresa was saying, like not just discarding it like in the trash, but um just kind of spending time with it and when I said not just discarding it in the trash, not like finding it, looking at it and tossing it, spending time with it, going through it, honoring that person that I was at that time, finding things that I may still be working on, finding those areas of growth and then kind of letting that go in gratitude that thank you for being that person. Thank you for the growth that I've made. These are some things that I still need to work on, but I don't necessarily feel like I have to hold on to them anymore. But I do, like I said, I don't want to call it a ceremony, but it is somewhat of a ceremony. And some people get weirded out about things that you say is a ceremony. So, but like honoring it, almost like what Teresa just said, honoring um, that journal and knowing that it's okay to let it go is a process that I do as well. And Teresa, that's exactly, and that's where I had been going, and then I forgot my thought. That is what gifting is for, getting rid of the stuff. That's what I was saying as I was as going. So initially, like my house, the house I had lived in, the 4 bedroom, 3 bath house that I lived in for 10 years. A lot of the stuff I gifted, and so sometimes it feels good to know, like go to people's houses and you recognize, there are some things that served you well, but now they're living on in this person's home. And then I also did a lot of like clothes, finding not just the Goodwills and the Salvation Armies, but finding places that are helping like people get back in the workforce, and they need work clothes, and suits, or like briefcases, those kinds of things where you can imagine that they're living a second life and helping somebody else just like they have helped you, and know that they're moving on and continuing in that journey. um Teresa's saying emotional attachments to things and not people. Yeah, understand. Getting my photos digitized was expensive, so I still have several. I've thrown away many, sent photos to some, still a lot. So yes, it can be expensive, but there's also consider a printer. One of the small printers, and they're not as expensive as they used to be, but a small printer that allows you to lay the photos on the face of the printer, not rolling around. I have a small one, and you can digitize yourself, and that process is almost I don't cathartic is I think the word. Looking at, seeing and remembering times and going through the photos and digitizing it yourself, and you're able to then save it on your computer. That might be something you want to consider, because those small printers aren't as expensive anymore as technology has changed. So you might be able to do it yourself. Yeah, paying somebody else to do it is very expensive. Um, okay, so Michelle is saying, when I had the journals in my house, I used to reread them to get an idea of where I was and came from. In the storage, I haven't read them. Um, then spend some time with them, Michelle. And absolutely, I like the idea of honoring my journals and let them go. Yep, that might be something to help you move forward. And Rosalind is saying the same thing I just said. I scanned all of my old photos and uploaded them into Google Drive. Absolutely. And then you can share it out with family. And that's a beautiful thing. So Michelle is saying, when I downsized my townhouse, I told people if they ever came to my house and saw something that they wanted, now is the time to come get it. I also donated to organizations that help people. That's the way to do it. Um, Rosalind is saying, I put an old tablet into a nice picture frame and made a digital photo album. I love that. All right, B is asking, can hurricane straps embedded in the foundation and attached to the tiny house be removed when you want to move the home? Being tied to the foundation is the only requirement for my county. Can hurricane straps embedded in the foundation and attached to the house? Yes. Okay. So, um, so the way the strapping, the hurricane straps, the straps that are used for mobile homes work is that there's a metal, for lack of a better word, bar that's um and if you go back to there's a video, and I'll attach this. I think it's called Tiny House Safety. I share pictures of the actual parts of the strapping, but it's the like the connector. that the strap goes into, that actually goes into the concrete, the foundation. And then this strap, and it's a metal, the ones that I have are metal straps. They wrap around the trailer, or they wrap around mine. Some of mine are wrapped around the axles of my tires. They wrap around and then they go into this fastener that's in the ground. And it's a crank that kind of rolls that up and tightens it. And so, as I've shared, my tiny house is um, 28 feet long. The porch is the screening porch is an additional 10 feet in length. So I have um, three or four of them now. Three on the tiny house. I have them situated at the front of the tiny house, the middle of the tiny house, at the almost at the wheels, and then at the end of the tiny house. And so the fastener is in the ground. The strap wraps around part of the trailer to that's gonna um, secure it, and then it goes into this fastener, and then it's a crank of that you roll up, and it tightens it and holds it. And to undo that, you just go in the opposite direction and remove that strap, and then you can move the house. Now, the fastener, the part that was in the foundation, that was in the concrete, it's going to remain there because it's not going to come back out. But you take the straps loose, and then you can move the house. So yes, that that can be done. I'll share the link to the tiny house safety video so you can see the actual um, pictures of the parts of this process that I'm speaking to. I think I also shared. I think there's a picture of it also in the concrete, so you can get a better visual of how that works. Yes, scanning takes time. Make it a whole. Make it a. I think sometimes when you have events, like if family members, you want to look through the pictures, and you all go through looking at pictures, and you're scanning it while you're doing it. Make it event, an evening event, wine and cheese, something like that, so it doesn't seem so laborious, laborious. Um, and make it something that is an event, and time with family is an option. Um, Day is saying to downsize the materialistic items I once cherished. I donate some to a church that helps the homeless, and the majority I sell on Poshmark, offer up in Macari. I save the money for land purchase. Absolutely. That was the other piece of it. Donating stuff, and then stuff that you can sell it. Because I did that too, going into building my tiny house, and that was going into my tiny house fund as I was selling things. Okay, so V is saying the septic system and the foundation are the two major requirements for having a tiny house in my county in North Carolina. This opens things up for me to have multiple tiny homes on my property. This is fabulous. Like V, I've forgotten where you're located, in your county. Um, Drop that information if you don't mind. I'm interested to know. That's excellent. Day is saying pics I scan to phone and text to CD via Walgreens on external drive. Excellent idea. Um, what should I be aware of when looking for land rental to ensure my safety as a single Black woman? Um, so I'll share the links. There are two videos for where can I park my tiny house that I do talk about that in detail. Um, right, Northampton County. Thank you, V. We talked about that. Riding riding through the area, um, if you have the opportunity, riding through the area and just kind of looking to see what the area looks like, is one thing. Um, you get a good idea of what the area is about. Um, if it's an opportunity, and when I say riding through the area, like all different times, you know, sometimes areas are different in the nighttime than they are in the daytime. So doing that. Um, I'm trying to think of what else. Some of the other things that I consider that I've shared. Um, Riding through the area is the main thing. And then if you're renting from someone, trying to, get to know that person and also sharing the concerns. These are my concerns. How do you feel about this? How do you address this? And that'll give you an idea if it's an area, where that might be something that um, they know of how that area is. So for an example I'll give you. So I do trusted house sitters now where that is where you're staying in people's homes and sometimes you're sitting for them for their animals. I sit smaller, medium, small dogs. Maybe they just want somebody to be in the house, water their plants. But one of the things that I've asked them specifically is, and I'll say, what's your neighborhood like? What's your area like? And that opens up a conversation. And sometimes, and this is, some of the houses have been white people, and that's not something that they have to consider. And I say that to them as a black woman. I need to, if I'm going to be staying in somebody's house, I need to know, have you said something to your neighbors that I'm going to be in your house? What is the makeup of your neighborhood? Is it predominantly white, like all of those questions. And sometimes it makes them think of things they haven't considered. But if you want me to sit in your house, then, and if that's not a conversation that you're comfortable with, then I probably don't want to sit for you. But you'll get the people who will say, I haven't had to consider that, but let me think about it, or they can give you some information like a house sit for me. The guy said my neighborhood is predominantly white, but we do have some African Americans in the neighborhood, and I'll speak to my neighbors to let them know for sure that you'll be here. And we had a whole dialogue about that. So asking the questions, visiting the area, and then from a personal safety standpoint, um, and I've shared that, and it might be something I talk about in the tiny house safety video. um my for personally, so I have cameras on my home, motion detector, the ring cameras that are going to let me know when something is moving, where I can look at my house remotely. I also have lighting, plenty of lighting, motion detector lighting, and I also have I've taken um courses for to be licensed to carry, um, because I've realized that I have to be responsible for my safety, and I have to be responsible in a different way now. And so there's those things that I've done to um, ensure my personal safety. So I'm planning to drop the link for the tiny house safety video. Um, and I think I was talking more to physical safety of a tiny house, but in the where can I park my tiny house, the two of those videos, I know I do talk to safety. And then I think there's also a way that you can look at, like, so in the area where I am, I'm in a very, very rural area, but the property I'm on is black owned. But I've also shared that, so I feel safe on the property where I am. I know the area. I've ridden around the area, so I know what's happening in the area. I see the flags and I see all of those things. And sometimes there's so many flags now. I just have to go take pictures and Google them because they are different looking flags. But I know like some of the back roads that are the quicker routes to move getting into the city. I only go those roads during the daytime. I don't do that at night. Like I take the major highway at nighttime, from a safety perspective. So knowing that you need to move also differently, is important to ensure your safety. Um, the question is, am I noticing more tiny home communities popping up in different states? If so, do you have a list? I can share the list that I have of tiny house communities, and yes, they are. Um, there more communities are growing. Some of them aren't specifically for tiny houses on wheels, but I'll share the list that I have. And not all of them advertise. So if you're interested in a specific area, you might want to Google that area. Um, I was going to say something else. Again, the West Coast is really leading the way in that, but they are growing for sure. I'll drop a link to that information. Um, Michelle is saying Jewel has had some experience going in. I'm not sure what that's missing part of the conversation. Um, oh yes, my experiences in some areas. Um, okay, so V is saying I have an upcoming build class with Millette and John Bradley. Next, I'll need to consult with you about the larger vision, which may involve Airbnb or Verbo. Very cool. Please give them my love. So Millette and John Bradley are the couple we spoke to, and they build containers, and they have a container building course. So I can drop the link to their video, and then you within their video you'll find, if you're interested, information on how to connect with them if you're interested in that. So yes, B, I look forward to connecting with you afterward. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so Rosalind is saying I reached out to them. I would love to attend the class in October, but you never heard back from them. Um, Rosalind, if you drop your email address, I can reach out to Millette on your behalf and say somebody's trying to get in touch with you. Drop your email address. I don't want you to leave any personal information here unless you want to email me, Miss MS Bohemian Soul at gmail.com. If you want to share your information, I can reach out to Millette for you and let her know that you're trying to get in touch for that October class if you'd like me to. Oh, very welcome. Very, very welcome. I'd love to see you connect with Lead Farmer 73 and his wife, who is a real estate agent. They are advocating for land ownership for Black folks and the use of tiny, not so tiny homes to live on the land. Is Lead Farmer 73, is that their handle on, I guess, is that handle? Is that their name on Instagram, V? If it is, I can look them up. Um, or maybe it's YouTube. Let me know and I'll find them. Thank you. I'll look at them. Yes, they have a direct number where they can be reached just on their website. So Rosalind, if you don't get what you need, um, email me msbohemiansoul at gmail.com, and I'll help you connect with them if I need to, if you still don't get in touch with them. Um, and then let me know, lead farmer 73, if that's IG or IG or YouTube, and I'll look out for them. Um, make sure I have my notes of what I'm supposed to be dropping. Okay, so I'm dropping the link to the podcast I was talking about, the link to Christine's book, link to my video about tiny house safety, the two videos of placement for tiny houses, my list of communities I'm aware of, and then the link to John and Millette's um, video. All right. Okay. YouTube channel, which has their other social media content. Okay. Cool. Thank you. I'll look them up. I promise you, I am not. Um, I'm looking for folks, but not really looking for folks. So when I say that, it's like I'm not. I don't spend a lot of time on YouTube. So I'm missing. potential connections. So I thank you all for looking out and sharing information with me for people that you think I should connect with so that we can talk about them. But absolutely, I'll reach out. Thank you. All right. It is 1 o'clock. What else can we talk about? It's really time to go. Let me see if it's some more questions. And if not, we will call it. And I'll share the information I promised. Let me see if it's anything else. Oh, Teresa, you're saying you donate to Johnson C. Smith, um, the battered shelter in Johnson C. Smith through church, um, the HBCU here in Charlotte. All right, I don't think I missed anything. Thank y'all as always. Um, okay, I think we can call it. Happy Sunday, everybody. I um I am working my on my electrical thing this week. On Tuesday, I think is when the work will get done. Tomorrow, I will be trenching 350 feet. Um, not excited, but um, sometimes doing the work yourself, and I have a friend helping me. Sometimes doing the work yourself is a lot cheaper than dealing with contractors. So I'm learning that. Day is asking, how soon will you upload the itinerary for November 12th? Um, but before we get together next Sunday, I will have dropped it on YouTube. It's just a matter of figuring out. And I haven't seen any suggestions if there's specifics that you want to for me to cover or to do in that thing. But I'll drop it the link to, and maybe I'll just drop it and say, the logistics are, I mean, the itinerary is still being figured out, but I'll drop it so that you can go ahead and schedule and participate. So I'll make that promise that before next Sunday, I'll have it out, and I'm going to post it here on YouTube first, and then I'll post it on Instagram. So thank you, and thank you for making me be accountable. Thank you, B. I appreciate that. Um, Thank you, Golda. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Do the same to you. Happy Sunday. Stay safe until next Sunday. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. I'm grateful. I'm getting it. I've tried to remain in gratitude that I've got the funds to get it done. That it didn't happen in the wintertime because dealing with stuff in the wintertime and it's cold and the ground is even harder than it usually is. Makes things more challenging. So I'm trying to stay in that place of gratitude, but as I put out all of this money, but it is what it is. But I thank you. Day is asking how many days. So again, so my event is going to be that Sunday, November the 12th. The event that I'm speaking on the panel of is on November 11th. So that Saturday is someone else's event. I'm participating on a panel, and I've invited you all to attend that. And then Sunday is going to be the conversation, and it's just the community event here in Charlotte, and it is just going to be a 1 day thing. Um, so that's it for that. It's not like a big tiny house event yet. I've got that on. That's also on my vision board. One of the things that I'm working on. So. Um, it's not that right now, but this is just an opportunity to connect in person. Um, so thank you all. I hope everybody has a great Sunday, great rest of the week. And we will talk next Sunday. All right, let me do my closeout and we are out of here. Thank you all again for being here. Again, this is What's Your Question, where I'm answering frequently asked questions, sharing tips to help someone in or on their tiny house journey, and we just are in community, in conversation, and I appreciate you all so much. Again, if this video was helpful to you, I hope you will like it, you'll share it, tell a friend about it, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel and then turn on the notification so you'll know when content is available. All right, happy Sunday. Take care, everybody.